right. I know. You can't believe it either. Guys, we gotta talk about some shit. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Bennett Barclay. I write fantasy and science fiction, and on this channel, I talk about all things fantasy, sci-fi, and writing related. And I'm annoyed, guys. I'm really, really annoyed because I've been reading a couple of articles today about these new Harry Potter and Twilight remakes that are coming out. And it's really got me thinking. I used to believe that we were in a golden age of fantasy and sci-fi adaptations. I really did. Even as far back as a few years ago, pre-pandemic and early years of the pandemic, I thought that we were going to get a lot of really high quality fantasy adaptations. We were seeing some great stuff coming down the line. We were seeing stuff that we didn't actually think was really possible. The Dune adaptation was coming down the line. The Witcher was on the horizon. The Wheel of Time was on the horizon. And we did not yet know what Rings of Power was going to be. So we thought, hey, this could be all right, right? So not only was I excited about what was coming down the line, I was excited about the things we hadn't seen yet. I was excited because I thought that we were going to see adaptations of all kinds of fantasy properties, all kinds of science fiction properties. I thought that we were going to start seeing more branching out into different stories and different aspects of the genre. And I'm not the only one who thought this. There was a lot of conversation online about these adaptations and the renaissance that was coming up. I know I called it the golden age of fantasy adaptation. I'm not the one who came up with that phrase. A very prominent YouTuber whom I admire greatly coined that phrase, and it lodged in my head. And I believed him. I thought he was right. We all did. And honestly, we should have been right. We really should have been. I'm not sure exactly what went wrong, but if I look at the slate of what's out there right now and what's coming down the pipe, what do we have to look forward to? More Star Wars, more Marvel, a new take on Harry Potter that's going to be released as a TV series, because apparently that's the hip thing to do now. Oh, you can get more story in a TV series. And yeah, you probably can, but does Harry Potter need that? Certainly the first movie is basically a shot for shot, scene for scene adaptation of that first book, and then after that they start making some creative liberties. But those movies are kind of defined by those creative liberties. So, do we really need a remake of Harry Potter? Do we really need a remake of Twilight? I don't think so. I don't know anything about Twilight. I am not a part of that fan base. I have never read any of the books or watched any of the movies. But the fans of those books seemed to consider those movies to be fairly true to form, or true to the author's vision, at least from the bits and pieces of conversation that I've overheard. So why are we getting that? Why are we getting a remake of something that explicitly does not need a remake? Rings of Power is getting another season. Why? That is not even a remake. That's essentially a fan fiction with a budget. Why are we getting that? Why are we getting the Star Warsification of the Lord of the Rings franchise, where we're going to get a dozen new movies all set in Tolkien's Middle Earth that, let's be honest, I hope they're good. I really do. I don't predict they will be. It'll be get them out for the sake of getting them out, because we know this franchise has an audience, and story is going to take a back seat if it's even in the vehicle, right? I don't know why I keep asking why. I know why this is happening. It's because these are franchises that the industry knows and knows they can make money off of. These are franchises that have an existing fan base and that can provide revenue for the production companies. And I get that. I understand that. But at the same time, we were so close, guys. We were so close to getting this new wave of fantasy and science fiction adaptations and getting the spotlight on people who deserve the attention and deserve an adaptation, but who are unfortunately getting overlooked. And there are truly great stories out there that deserve an adaptation, that we should see an adaptation of, that it's just not going to happen. All right, I'm over here to make some demonstrations. So there are so many good books that are just being absolutely ignored. You know that D&D movie that they just released, which, okay, WotC is a whole kettle of fish in themselves. I'm not happy with Wizards of the Coast. I'm not happy with the Dungeons & Dragons brand. But part of what's annoying me, it's not a huge deal, right? It's not. But they have fucking Legend of Driss? Yeah. Ever read this? R.A. Salvatore? Fantastic. They had the Dragonlance Chronicles, guys. They have the Dragonlance Chronicles. These are staples of fantasy. All right? This is not just D&D fanfic here. This is real, genuine fantasy that deserves real mainstream attention. You have people like Brent Weeks doing Lightbringer, one of my favorite series of all time. Okay, Lightbringer has a lot of baggage with it, but it's really good, and it's really cinematic. This is a series that is made for adaptation. It is literally about light. The magic is about light. It's begging for all those fancy computer graphics that you love so much. Marvel! Even the in-house critic thinks that Dragonlance is fucking amazing. Brent Weeks did Night Angel. It's magic ninjas. How much cooler can you get? Or you have people like Brian McClellan. Brian McClellan is one of the hardest working writers out there today. He wrote an incredible series of books. He wrote 2 trilogies and writes a bunch of novellas, and his new book, I haven't read it yet. I'm sure it's amazing because Brian McClellan is an amazing writer. Powder Mage is incredible. Why is there no Powder Mage adaptation? This series is begging for a TV show. It just is. What the These are all phenomenal books, phenomenal stories that really deserve more mainstream attention, more attention from general pop culture perspective, more opportunities to shine in the sun. But unfortunately, what we're seeing now is that Hollywood in particular is at a state where they are going to make the safe choice. They will always be making the safe choice. Now, I don't know exactly why the trend of fantasy adaptations seemed to nosedive. My suspicion is that the finale of Game of Thrones and the lukewarm reception to that contributed to it. I also think some of the criticisms leveled at Star Wars may have contributed to the industry being wary of taking risks in fantasy and science fiction. But come on, guys. Those books over there, they have fan bases. They have franchise potential, and you're just ignoring them. There are some spectacular stories out there. There is some spectacular talent out there, but you guys are making the safe choice and producing material that is mediocre at best. The only risk that I can recall a big studio taking with a fantasy or science fiction adaptation in the last few years is Sandman. And it paid off. It worked beautifully. But it worked beautifully because Neil Gaiman was explicitly and closely involved in the writing and production of that series. Brandon Sanderson is getting an adaptation, and Brandon is going to do it the way that he wants to do it. He's going to take a very Neil Gaiman approach. He's not going to let a studio run rampant with his properties. But guys, there are other properties out there that really deserve the attention, and they're not getting it. And it's really sad. There's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing that you as the individual can do about it. But if we vote with our dollars, if we find a way to communicate to these studios that we want more like this, more adaptations of fantasy properties, but we want different, maybe they'll listen to us. I don't know, guys. That's just been my rant for today. I didn't mean to set out to write a rant video or to make a rant video. It just sort of happened, but I'm glad I said it, and I think it needed to be said. So hope you're all having a good day, and until next time, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.